satisfied until he can get to touch the Aegis by himself.
Yeah, it really feels like that RNG have spent these last couple of days of the group stages just kind of evening out their drafting and the way that they want to play their game. They've really been able to show us what Somnus and Ghost have been able to do in those kind of carry roles that we've seen throughout the entirety of the tournament. And everyone has really been stepping up. I don't think there's been anybody that's really been lacking on RNG. And I mean, they're going to need to be able to continue that form if they want to try and take down a juggernaut team that is PSG.LGD. As we said at the top of the show, PSG.LGD, they have been really kind of lacking in their first day of group stages, but they've decided to turn it back on now going into day number 2. And day number 3 is where it all matters, right? Because you're actually able to see how the groups are starting to form out and understand which one of these series you actually need to start getting these 2s and 0s, and maybe some of these results might not be going your way and you have to try and force yourself to get to 2-0, and that's where we see these teams experiment a little bit less and really just try and determine what meta they're going to use for the entirety of TI as well.
Absolutely. And PSG.LGD, this is a squad who has, the way they've been performing over the last few years has really elevated Dota as a whole. Faith Beyond has already won his own TI back at TI 6 with Wings Gaming. Of course, nothing to say. Wants a little bit of revenge here. They came so close last TI up against the side of Team Spirit. Anything less than being able to get at least to the grand finals, but honestly, it has to be lifting the Aegis once more. This is not just redemption for them. This is the final road for Faith Beyond. He has announced to the entire world that he wants to retire after this TI. There have been rumors floating about that Arme wants to do the same. So I'm hoping that they get this anime power-up of one last road, boys. We've seen what it can do for Team Liquid. They've looked amazing, phenomenal, since it is Matu's last run as well. So PSG.LGD, all smiles right now. They know that they have the historical win over the side of RNG. They know that their ceiling is absolutely sky high. I cannot wait to see how this game is going to be panning out between these two juggernauts. I need some predictions though, Fluke. Where is this going? Before we get to the predictions, I have to just remind everybody that for the duration of day 3 of today's group stages, PSG.LGD will be experiencing some penalties. We're going to be having in their second and third series some draft penalties in terms of their reserve time. And in this first game, they have no option regarding priority. So if they are going to be winning today, this could be an additional power-up for them, Fluke. The world is against us. We messed up, sure. We made a big mistake. We shouldn't have done what we did. But now we're going to try and show that we don't even need these advantages. We can still win no matter what the handicap is.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy for PSG.LGD to be able to play their series today. As we saw when we looked at the groups, they're sitting at 6-4 right now, and they're fighting OG and Team Liquid for an upper bracket slot right now. EG as well as RNG I don't want to say comfortably at the top, especially with this series being able to be played in front of us. So I think the way this is going to be going between RNG and LGD, I think this is probably going to be a 1-1. Obviously, historically, LGD have been able to get the better of RNG, but this is a little bit different, right? Like, this is these guys playing on land. These guys are here at TI. These guys know that they've been kind of in front of the meta. I think RNG have been and really been able to show how strong these guys have been, whereas PSG have kind of had to reset after day 1 and now come back into day 2 and really try and get themselves to that kind of TI form that we've seen PSG.LGD be in the past. Surprisingly enough, though, we talk about this, this LGD roster and the LGD rosters of the past. This organization hasn't lifted an Aegis yet, which is the crazy thing to me when you look across the amount of god-tier rosters these guys have had. And even in the past 2 years, PSG.LGD themselves have been in the grand finals, and they still haven't been able to lift the Aegis. So there's ever going to be an anime power-up, it's going to have to be here. I really like the opening drafts from both these two teams, by the way, here, Snare, as we actually start to talk about the Dota. Finally, we're seeing teams utilize this Nyx Assassin more. I think it is a really good response to the Primal Beast. You can always stop the Pulverize, you can always stop the Trample, you can always stop the Onslaught as well. So it means that this Primal Beast is going to have to pre-BKB to come in towards these fights, whereas when we see these Primal Beasts take over the map, they really try and hold on to that BKB for as long as possible so they can get like a full duration Pulverize off, and maybe they can continue to just trample on top of people. So I like this Nyx response, but I also like the Chen response coming in from PSG.LGD. Getting this ball together, we see what these snowballs have been able to do, or these death balls have been able to do over these last couple of days. And I think if PSG.LGD get a few more of these heroes that can kind of buff up one carry for Arme, then they can kind of just roll through the map and off they go.
PSG.LGD, I'm really loving the fact that they have opted to come back for this Chen as well. They've been trying to diversify their drafts as time has been going on. And we've seen that as well with Arme in particular. If anybody that doesn't know, Arme has played 10 different heroes in 10 different games. So well on track to try and be the person that really plays the most unique heroes here at TI. Of course, last year it was Yotoro that did it, and he lifted the Aegis, so there might be some correlation between these two things. Going into this game, I am very excited to see as well exactly how they're going to be answering the Shadow Fiend. We've seen several different methods of people answering this hero. The main one seems to be getting a hero that can go right up into his face, beat him down even when he's in an advantageous position, or just ending the game so quickly that he just never gets online to begin with. And if you're playing Chen Primal Beast, you are able to kind of do that. And yesterday we also saw that you can just dominate him in lane, right? Pure playing on the Shadow Fiend at like 13 minutes was like level 5 or something. It was pretty impossible to play. And we have seen that Primal Beast in the off lane can also be quite a force to reckon with. So LGD have versatility with this hero. We're still not clear exactly where he's going to be playing. I like the Broodmother ban, just to make sure that they don't have the Swarm hero that comes in from Chalice in the off lane.
Yeah.
Who do you think it's protecting though, right, for themselves?
Usually we see the Broodmother ban in response to things like the Drow Ranger and the Terrorblade, just because they have a harder time dealing with the Broodmother. I feel like teams have started to slowly cotton on to this Pudge hero being able to be the response to the Broodmother. I wouldn't hate to see a Pudge come out for like this LGD kind of snowball, right? Or even on the other side for RNG, because you come into these games where usually we see this Shadow Fiend be the kind of end-all be-all, but I've really been enjoying what these teams are doing with this kind of second core idea. Wouldn't hate to see RNG, you know, go for something along the lines of like maybe a sniper pick here, maybe the sniper in the 18th pick rather than coming here in this first phase of the second picks, because then LGD will have 2 responses to it, so I would like to see RNG try and give them a second kind of hero to be able to play around, because, you know, Primal Beast has been one of those heroes that can really isolate one of these cores, go in, try and catch the Shadow Fiend pre-BKB, trample on top of him, pulverize him up, and then LGD can kind of run over the rest of the fight. So they're going to respond with a Snapfire. RNG have been playing a whole boatload of Snapfire so far. We were talking about it before we came here onto the broadcast. Xnova's still probably a little bit mad about yesterday missing out on his Rampage from the Snapfire, so if the... I mean, when they played this Nyx Assassin and the Snapfire combination yesterday, RNG, they look so good with it. Like, the way that these two supports are able to roam around the map and the amount of damage they can do just gives RNG that extra bit of aggression around the map, right? It just allows them to kind of walk around it and do whatever they want. And now it's onto PSG.LGD to try and figure out what their response is going to be. I want to see them have an active support as well here. Obviously, we've seen what the Chen's been able to do himself, but I think they just need something else that can go in with the Primal Beast and try and set up some of these fights. So, Monkey King? Okay, all right.
This could actually be the offlane Monkey King, given the success we saw from him yesterday. So it's either the offlane Monkey King or it's the Shin-Q Monkey King, which is honestly as good as an offlane Monkey King to begin with. RNG already have the Kaka Nyx Assassin. I'm thinking about the Snapfire. They actually might have also picked this up as a deny pick, because as good as Xnova is on the hero, we have seen throughout the TI group stages that Snapfire has been a response to the early phase Shadow Fiend, being able to throw in damage from outside of the range of his Requiem, outside of the range of his Razors, so you always have some degree of threat, especially if you find some early lockdown. And I would not want to play into a draft that has access to Pulverize into the Morty's Kisses. So it makes sense to me why they would pick this up when they did on the side of RNG. For LGD, we're going to be seeing with this next pick, I think, where this Monkey King is going. This could also be the Army Monkey King on the side of PSG.LGD, so there's a lot of flexibility with that hero. And with Beastmaster coming out for Faith Beyond, does mean that Monkey King is probably going to be the Shin-Q hero. I would prefer to see this on him rather than on Ame, but it's also Ame. I'm never going to judge him. I'm never going to question what Ame God decides to do, so... But I do like this Beastmaster. It does feel like they have the makings of a buff-up lineup here on the side of LGD. Beastmaster, Chen already. You have access to some auras. Whoever it is that's going to be the beneficiary of these auras is going to become extremely strong in this game for LGD.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was kind of leaning towards when I was talking about I want a hero that can kind of enable them a little bit more. I think the Monkey King can definitely do that. Oh, the Pangolier had been left completely through. Okay, that's a little bit of a rough time now for PSG.LGD. They've got the Roar that's able to deal with the Rolling Thunder, but I just think that the amount of teamfight that RNG have right now, it's going to be very hard for LGD to try and get these teamfights going. We've seen what Pango's been able to do in the past. Rolling Thunder's really good. Swashbuckle's really good at dealing with this kind of zoo that's coming forward. So they've got at least 2 heroes right now that can kind of wave clear. You've got the Scatterblast as well as the Fire Snap Cookie, and the Pangolier is able to kind of burn through a lot of these creeps right now. Wouldn't hate to see if PSG.LGD, if they get rid of, what do they really kind of need now? They need their Chalice hero, right? So unless Chalice wants to play the Pangolier, and then we're going to give something different for Somnus. There's still the Leshrac that's floating around here for RNG. They've played a decent amount of Leshrac. Recently gives them that second kind of core idea for the Shadow Fiend. You do have to be scared though of Primal Beast plus the plus the Beastmaster. It's just a lot of lockdown to try and deal with the Leshrac, and the only real save they have is the Fire Snap cookie. So maybe LGD might be a little bit too scared to try and go for something along those lines. Going to get rid of the Viper here, so that leans me more towards a carry Monkey King. If I'm being honest here, just means that the MK doesn't have to deal with these green speedy heroes that can kind of slow him down and can give him a pretty bad lane as well. So it seems like to me that LGD are just keeping themselves all set up and then looking for a nothing to say here at the end.
5 seconds remaining.
Fluke, Morphling is still in this game right now, and PSG.LGD have the pick out of this phase of the ban. So since they have the 23, I wonder if there is potential to try and shift this Primal Beast into the mid lane, keep the Beastmaster off. You have Monkey King 4, Chen as the 5, and then you just pick up the Arme Morphling right now. We have seen these Morphlings being able to challenge Shadow Fiends as well, and you do get to this point in the game where Shadow Fiend, once you get BKB, can't really do anything to you. And looking at this game, it just feels like a very good game for any kind of BKB carry. Once you get BKB, you just feel completely invincible in tandem with some of the aura buff-ups from the rest of PSG.LGD. So that could be a potential option for them. I'm sure right now PSG.LGD are glad that this is not the game they have to suffer the reserve time penalty, because they really want to consider and think about what this last pick could be. But what do you make of that if they do decide to go for the Morphling here? And if they don't, could RNG decide to snag it up? Is there even space for this hero with how the draft is operating at the moment?
Yeah, I think you might be lacking a little bit of something for RNG. I think the Morphling probably might not fit all too well with them going into the Primal Beast and the Beastmaster. Like, it's very, very hard for you to play this kind of squishier hero early on. They have good ways to try and lock you down. The Monkey King can be very, very annoying by just spamming Primal Spring at you and trying to deal with this massive amount of zoo that's going to come in. So they're going to go for the Dark Willow here. So that seems like that's going to be the Xingqiu hero for PSG.LGD. So that gives them a little bit more lockdown. They were lacking a little bit of this good ways of trying to initiate a fight. They did have Primal Roar and the Onslaught, which was a good way for them to start some of these fights, but this just gives them that little bit of extra team fight, right? Terrorize has been a really good ability that we've seen most recently. It's very, very hard for the Pangolier to try and play around a lot of these, a lot of the Bramble Mazes and stuff like that outside of the role. And I think this also gives them a little bit of an answer to a Morphling if he ever does appear. So if Ghost picks Morphling here, it's going to be a very, very hard lane up against the Beastmaster and the Dark Willow, because Dark Willow can do a lot of work against Morphling early on with how much damage that she does. So does RNG need... Is this a good Lone Druid game?
They kind of could play it. I mean, we do have this Primal Beast available, so they can close down very quickly onto the Lone Druid. We saw it a couple of times over the last couple of days. I wonder, though, they do need some push potential, but if they do go with Lone Druid, it does feel like they're overcommitting to physical damage, and they won't have that much. They'll have the Shadow Fiend who will have to commit for the full magical damage route in that particular instance, but they do need push potential, so I could see it. And it's going to be Jakiro. Well, there's the push potential that they needed. It's going to come from Liquid Fire, and this is also a way to be able to de-push if needed, right, for this Chen waves coming in. And it's a Jakiro in the off lane for Chalice. So the off laner here for the side of Royal Never Give Up, he's the one picking up the Jakiro. Okay, I like this. I like what I'm seeing. It's going to be a very obnoxious lane, right? Chalice on the Jakiro in tandem with the Kaka and Nyx Assassin. That is a lot of harass, but I suppose this is the option. They can't play the Venomonster, or can't play Viper. They needed some kind of way to continue to put harass out onto Arme. So Arme's Monkey King, I don't think it's going to be having a phenomenal time in the laning phase versus a Jakiro in the off lane. How do you feel about this, the last pick Jakiro? And also, do you like the Manesca on the side of LGD? Which draft do you favor at the end here, Fluke?
I like the idea of the Jakiro in lane and in principle. I think this kind of sets them up for a single core lineup, though, which is what I've seen most recently. It kind of, a lot of the times when we see these single core lineups and you have these drafts from PSG.LGD where they've got these single target lockdowns, they've got the Pulverize, they've got the Primal Roar, and they've got Monkey King who can kind of single out one of these heroes. The thing is, like, Monkey King really doesn't have to worry about any of these other heroes once he gets BKB, right? Like, if he gets BKB inside of his Wukong's command, the only hero he has to worry about is Ghost and the Shadow Fiend. So if he gets pushed out of these team fights, if he gets pulverized, if he gets killed, it's going to be hard for RNG to deal damage in these fights. Chalice playing the Jakiro, though, he can have a very, very good lane. I think that's the big thing for me is these support that we play as offlaners. He's got Karkar as well that's going to be floating around on the Nyx Assassin, so they've got a lot of kill threat early on. So I think if RNG can set Chalice up to have a really good lane, he can go in towards something along the lines where he can just go for like this early Veil of Discord. He can get his Aghanim Shard early on like a Yule Scepter, and they can just play extremely fast with their heroes. Then RNG should have a pretty good game, but I feel like PSG.LGD are going to have this first game in the bag here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah.
This PSG lineup just looks a little bit too cohesive, especially once this Monkey King gets BKB. At that point, you just feel like you bound across the map, completely unconcerned about anything that they can do to you on the side of RNG. RNG kind of need to roll this game if they're going to end up winning it. So we're going to be finding out if they're capable of doing so up against a resurgent PSG.LGD, or if it's going to be LGD finally taking a loss against the side of RNG here. Remember, everyone, RNG has not won a single game against this iteration of LGD with their roster. So this is their chance to do it. And what a place to do it, Fluke, on the TI group stages. So let's get into it. Let's see if they've got what it takes to bring down the juggernauts of China for the first time ever with this particular roster. The one thing that I am scouting out in this game that is going to be quite interesting for me is going to be the item build that Ame goes for. Also, by the way, this is he's 11 and 11 now. 11th unique hero in his 11th game. Shout out to Ame.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like Ame is the value prediction. We were having a chat before we even came on for the LCQs about our predictions, and I said you could probably just put Ame in all of those categories, and it's probably a pretty safe bet. So I think Ame is definitely helping out everybody here with the battle passes. So appreciate that, Mr. Ame. I do like the lanes they have here. See, you got baited. You can't go away from the Ame god. Yatoro is definitely getting close, but we're having a look at it this morning, and Yatoro unfortunately has played 2 Drow games, so he's not 100% diverse this time around. You can see the issue that Ame is going to have in this lane. There's going to be a lot of magic spam that he's going to have to try and deal with. He does have a Chen in his lane, though, so it's going to be pretty okay for Ame to just kind of deal with this, especially if he's able to ever get any of these Jingu stacks up. We've seen what happens with Jingu Mastery in combination with the Boundless Strike. You get it through an entire crit wave, and then you're back to full HP. So I think Ame should have a relatively okay time here. I think the biggest thing for me for LGD is they just have to be wary about the rotations that this Jakiro as well as the Nyx can make. If they start getting these early levels early on, they can move towards the mid lane. They can try and get Somnus in towards a good spot where they can take down Nothing to Say a few times. Then they can transition to these side lanes and really kind of ball up in about 10-15 minutes. So that's one concern that I have here for PSG.LGD, but I think their lane should be relatively okay most of the time.
I'm kind of wondering if Chalice is going to end up buying Wraith Pack this game or any kind of aura item. We've seen most of the success that Shadow Fiends have is when their offlaner can buy those kind of items and provide that additional buff up. Obviously, that's not normally in the item route of this more core Jakiro. We normally expect things like Rod of Atos, but could be an option. Erstwhile, speaking of options, top lane, Shin Q and Faith Beyond. Woo! X-Nova, good luck, my friend. This is going to be not an enjoyable time. This is a lane that's just going to suck to play into, and Beastmaster's going to get pretty much everything that he wants out of it. Ghost, on the bright side, shouldn't feel too threatened here. He should just be able to sustain himself, survive with the raises, but not really much they can do to stop Faith Beyond either from just getting a perfect game early on in this Beastmaster.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, Ghost is not going to be all too sad about this lane, and Faith Beyond's not going to be all too sad about this lane. I think it's more so about, what Jinq as well as X-Nova are able to do once they get these levels up, because the laning phase is going to be pretty static until the mid laners start to move around. Shadow Fiend doesn't want to move all too much. Monkey King doesn't want to move all too much out of his lane. And when you have this Jakiro hero as well here for Chalice, it's either you start to dominate the lane and you just want to stick in that lane, take that tower early, or you start to make rotations if you haven't really been able to have that success. So I think it's really going to be on these mid laners, Nothing to Say, as well as Somnus, to see who makes that first rotation with the first power rune, be able to set the tempo for their team. Pangli as well as Primal Beast in the mid lane have been these massive tempo setters, so I think that's where a lot of the aggression is going to come out for is both these two mid laners.
Have we actually seen this lane yet here at TI? This mid lane matchup, Pang goes straight into the Primal Beast?
I think we would have had to have seen it. We haven't seen it specifically, but I feel like that we've seen a lot of Pangliers, we've seen a lot of Primal Beasts, that it probably has been one of these matchups that we would have seen at least once or twice in TI. And I think Primal Beast definitely comes out on top of this lane, you obviously have the swashbuckle to get away from the trample, but you can just see what Nothing to Say is doing, right? Like, every time that he comes into these fights, he knows that the swashbuckle's on cooldown, he just gets the uproar going and he punches down on Somnus. And this is the reason why Primal Beast has been such a strong laner in that mid lane, because he can just do this to so many different heroes. And if you have no way of getting away from the trample, he's going to kill you. And if you have to get away from the trample, then you're misusing, you know, your movement ability, because you have to use it to survive rather than getting CS. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit unfortunate there for
Primal
Somnus.
Beast. He's actually going to try and exert some more of his influence in this mid lane NTS. Top, they're doing the same with the rest of the crew here. Very, very nice and slow early game. Yesterday we had some bombastic beginnings to some of these series, but today it's the realization of what's on the line. You were mentioning it earlier at the top of the show that today is a day where you can actually go top of the group and more or less confirm your place into the upper bracket. So this is not the time for mistakes anymore. Both of these squads have a lot of experience. A lot of these players have a lot of experience with championship level games and know how to pace themselves, not burn out too early. Down bottom, you do see that Ame has finished off the full orbital corrosion. So just going to keep farming, keep doing his thing. Completely unconcerned with putting any harass onto Chalice. He's like, in a sense, that's on you, fam. I'll just throw in a boundless strike every now and then for a token effort, but anything else, you got to decide to do it.
Yeah, that's why I think this lane is starting to get a little bit hard here for Chalice. Oh, no. Speaking of... Did they get the body blocks?
Chalice.
Oh, no.
The body blocks don't connect, and Ame had already committed the boundless strike, has no points into the primal spring, so it cannot keep the chase going onto Chalice. Chalice is like, all right, cool. I'll have to ferry in some regen, bringing in a mango itself. But he'll be okay. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, but boundless strike is up again in 6 seconds. Innocence is a bit too far away, but Ame could still try potentially threaten Chalice here. It's only the level 1 though, so kind of difficult to do. Yeah, he's already expended it, so Chalice is fine.
Yeah, he knows that if he even tries to aggress just a little bit here, that Karka's going to have the Spike Carapace as well as the Impale. And you can see now they're just putting the pressure back here onto Ame. This is where it starts getting a little bit funky for both these two laners, is the fact that Ame also has kill threat on Chalice, but Chalice also has kill threat back onto Ame. So if there ever is a misstep in this lane, that's when it's going to start to explode. You know, sitting right now 25-7 on Ame, 17-6 for Chalice, so he's not having the greatest of times in this off lane, but you're relatively okay with how this is going. Like, you pick this Jakiro, you wanted it to be a bit of a lane dominator. He's got level 4 now and hasn't really been the worst of laning stages for Chalice, but it definitely hasn't been a shining star. So they're going to be able to at least get that transition. I think once he hits like level 5, level 6, you can get a few more of the levels in the dual breath, and that's when he can really start to abuse the Monkey King who wants to stay in his lane. And that's when it's going to start getting scary. Ooh.
Get the first blood as X-Nova and Ghost are able to find themselves a quick kill onto the Stormbreaker. She tried to survive with the Shadow Realm, but here comes Nothing to Say, making the first rotation from the mid lane. All snowed into the trample, brings down Ghost. Nothing to Say finds himself a very nice rotation coming in from the mid lane. And oh, look at this as well, the cheese. He has access to a bottle, and as soon as Shinkyu respawns, comes back for the refill. So you don't even have to lose out on any of the bottle magic. Bottom lane, Chalice forced a TP, but he cancels the TP after he realizes that he's not actually in danger. He's like, wait. They actually can't do anything. I'm fine.
What a chat.
Well, he has to be careful though. Primal Spring. Right? Yeah.
Ooh.
Missteps, but Kaka will return. And they're also
Somnus
bringing in
is here.
Somnus on the Pangolier. They have access to the Rolling Thunder. I'm not sure if they've caught the vision on him. It looks like Ame had an idea that something awry was happening. Got himself into the trees. Somnus finds himself unable to connect with this rotation. This is always the best here, Fluke. When you move from middle to a lane, as Nothing to Say did, you get a kill. Your lane partner tries the same and fails to make any kind of impact. They do end up losing the life of this Faith Beyond Beastmaster in the top lane, but you know, the way that this game is going, I think LGD overall will still take it.
Yeah. Obviously, their rotation from Nothing to Say was much nicer than what Somnus's was. They weren't able to connect to try and get the kill onto the Monkey King. They got Ghost a response kill there onto Faith Beyond. That was just a combination of the Scatterfire Blast and the Fire Snap Cookie, so not really much that Faith Beyond can do, especially when Xingqiu was, I believe he was stacking, right? Okay, he doesn't have any stacks. I think Xingqiu was just trying to secure some runes, so... Right now, it is looking pretty good for both these teams. It's relatively even. I think the biggest thing for me is just wanting to see what Chalice and Kaka do. They haven't really made any rotations yet. They haven't been able to link up with Somnus either to try and take down Ame. And it's all about, you know, what they're able to do and when they start to group up. They've still have to wait a little bit for Ghost to get a few more of his items. He's getting towards that Mask of Madness, and they need to make sure they have good responses to Nothing to Say as well. Oh, Arme in the bottom side.
He's
So
putting some pressure onto
here.
Kaka. Yeah, there's Carapace, but even better is the Ice Path coming in from Chalice. Literally mid-animation for the Boundless Strike.
Yeah.
Stops him in his tracks. Arme can do nothing about this. And Chalice is like, I got you, buddy. We can keep bailing each other out of trouble. If they position correctly between the Nyx and the Jakiro, there's pretty much no kill options at this moment for the side of PSG.LGD unless they bring in a rotation from the mid lane. Speaking of the mid lane, how is Somnus doing? He's a little bit behind the pace of the net worth of the Primal Beast, to be expected since Primal Beast connected with his rotation and Somnus didn't, but he's still doing okay enough. How do you feel about this early diffusal play that he's going for? It is normally the mainstay of these mid Pangoliers, but in this game, feels okay. But I would have liked maybe an option for a Maelstrom, considering it will be playing into the armies of the Chen and the Beastmaster. How do you feel about this?
I think it's a good decision nonetheless. They also have other ways of dealing with the creeps. They've got the dual breath. They're gonna have the Macropire. They're gonna have things like the Impale and the Mortimer's Kisses at the end of the day to try and deal with a lot of these creeps. So I like the fact that he's decided to go for something that's a little bit more team fight centric. Obviously, a lot of the heroes for PSG.LGD really need their mana. Faith Beyond, Nothing to Say, as well as Arme. All heroes that need to have some of their mana. And if it gets burnt by the Diffusal Blade, then it's a little bit too hard for them to play these team fights. So I like that he's made the decision. I wouldn't have hated either way, though. I think Maelstrom or Diffusal Blade would have been good. Does that a solo kill?
He dies solo. Yeah, it's a solo kill.
No.
He got pulverized. Nothing to Say as level 8. Finds Somnus in the jungle and just straight up kills him. Oh my god, that is just horrible. Top lane, though, Primal Roar committed back onto this X-Nova Snapfire, and they should be able to bring him down. That is first usage of the Primal Roar top, just as Ghost gets bounced away from this lane. And not a moment too soon, because Nothing to Say was trying to connect with the rotation onto that side of the map as well, after killing Somnus. So things are really starting to pick up for the side of PSG.LGD. They're going to push out on this top lane. Somnus, though, going to use Rolling Thunder for the first time in this game to look for a kill onto Innocence. Nothing you can do about that one. And this is so unfortunate. He picks up an Arcane Rune after that kill. Would have been nice before the Rolling Thunder so he could quickly try and connect down bottom, but he's still going to make that rotation. Faith Beyond has brought down the tower in the top lane. Chalice in bottom is in danger. It's brought down by Arme, who just solo kills him. And Arme took a lot of damage from the Morty's Kisses, so he needs to be careful here. Somnus shows up with the Swashbuckle. Shield Crash will be out. And X-Nova able to burst him down with the Scatter Blast. So Arme brings down Chalice, but Chalice has done his job by softening him up so that they can bring him down with the rotation from the rest of these heroes.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he gets a kill in a 1 versus 3 is a fairly good shout there for Arme. Obviously, a big rotation that comes in from Somnus. They get the kill there onto Innocence, and then they transition that into a kill onto Arme. I think PSG.LGD are perfectly happy with how this is going. Oh, no, Chalice.
Late, Pulverize onto Chalice. They'll be happy if they can get this kill, but unfortunately, Jakiro a little bit too tanky. He's still alive for now. Faith Beyond is here, but with Nothing to Say had a little bit more mana, I think Chalice might be feeling more threatened. But as they bring in reinforcements, Ghost wants to show up as well. They just want to clear out these waves, prevent the tower from going down so early. But even with the Macropire, regrettably, they had a Siege Dragon here, so it's still going to go down early. But look at this, the huge War Stop coming in from the Centaur Conqueror. Enables Nothing to Say to just go in for the fight. They bring down both Ghost and Chalice and the Tier 1 tower in a short span of time. How did they not see that Centaur, but it connected at the same time as the Terrorize? Great plays coming in from the side of PSG.LGD. And now they are looking a lot stronger than they were like 90 seconds ago. They're just starting to pick up the pace here, Fluke. And RNG is struggling to deal with it at this point.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a brain fart, I think, coming in from RNG. They looked at the Centaur. It had about 50 HP as well, so they were like, no, this is perfectly okay. But you see the combination that comes in from PSG.LGD, the War Stomp in combination with the Terrorize. 2 heroes get caught by the Onslaught. They get trampled on top of, and bam. You've got 2 of these core kills going down early on here. And PSG.LGD, they're starting to tighten the screws here on RNG. The map is starting to get smaller, and I'm really looking towards RNG. I think they should try and group up as 5 heroes. I want to see them come together. I want to see them be able to try and get some of these team fights. They've got a lot of magic damage. They've got a lot of really good spells. Yes, they're behind on the net worth, but they're able to combine their spells, things into Ice Path, into Record of Souls. Ghost doesn't even have access to that just yet, but, Ice Path into things like another Fire Snap Cookie, Mortimer's Kisses, and then the Rolling Thunder on top. they can definitely kill some of these heroes, because once this starts getting later and later, the BKB is going to come online for nothing to say, as well as Arme. They can just stand in these fights, don't really have to worry about Chalice, don't really have to worry about what Xova's doing. And that's when they can start to win these team fights. So RNG, they're just trying to hold on to their map right now. They've only lost 2 of their tier 1 towers. They still have their offlane tower as well. So it's not the end of the world for them just yet, but they need to try and hold on until Ghost can start becoming scary in these team fights.
Yeah. It's also becoming a bit of a problem that Chalice is starting to really fall behind all the other cores in this game. Nothing to say, having a phenomenal performance, about to pick up the BKB already, and we've seen the strength that this hero can have with the early BKB. They're going to congregate together around this tier 1, might decide to smoke up, and indeed they do. Going on an adventure, boys. Where is the target? Will we try to connect into the jungle, or are we looking for an early Roshan snipe? Looks like the option is to go up the hill. They have some vision here, thanks to this Beastmaster Hawk. It scouts out Kaka, but they also don't really want Kaka. They want the bigger target, and they're going to find him. Somnus is here. He's been run into. The Bramble Mazes there. There's going to be the Pulverize, and the damage is out with the Bedlam. Shinkyu finishes him off, and Somnus dead again in his own jungle. That's the second time that he dies, and the second time that he dies in an area he thought he was safe in.
Yeah, what a sick combo. Shinkyu being able to predict where Somnus is going to go. Bramble Maze walks in, Terrorize on top to secure the kill. And then nothing to say, just walks in and does Primal Beast things. PSG.LGD are really showing the prowess of these heroes that they've got. I like the combination they have as well, the Terrorizing combination with things like the Pulverize. It's just able to give this Primal Beast a little bit of this extra safety. We've seen it a few times from a few of these teams, just utilizing these extra support heroes that are able to mean that the Primal Beast can get a free Pulverize off. And picking up the Primal Beast, looking towards nothing to say here.
Yeah, they really wanted it, but now they're going to Shinkyu instead for the somewhat easier kill. They'll allow this to happen. The Chen all heal will come out. It goes into the Shadow Realm to buy time. Rolling Thunder is in from Somnus. They haven't been able to bring down Shinkyu just yet. The final kiss from Morty will do so, but here comes nothing to say. Looking for revenge. Onslaught all across into this lane, tramples him down, and with the Pulverize, they should kill the Snapfire. At the same time, Primal Roar did come out onto Kaka. Not enough to kill him just yet. North of the fight, Ame actually brings down Chalice all alone. Now he wants to engage into these heroes that are starting to fall lower and lower. Onslaught connects onto Kaka, and then Ame is enabled to get himself a double kill. Somnus is scouted, but he does have access to the Swashbuckle, so it's a bit of a difficult kill. Nonetheless, PSG.LGD yet again. This was supposed to be a move that came in from RNG. They started that fight, Fluke, but LGD is certainly happy to finish it, and now they'll be rewarded with an Aegis for their efforts as well.
Yeah, PSG.LGD are just playing these team fights like really, really well. They're understanding what spells they need to be careful of, what spells they need to be playing around, and their spacing is insane. Whether they're playing around this Spike Carapace, whether they're playing around this Jakiro, they're just kind of like going in onto RNG, not fully committing, waiting until these big spells like the Spike Carapace, Rolling Thunder, Ice Path have been utilized, and then that means that nothing to say as well as Arme kind of have free reign in these fights. And they're getting towards a point now where RNG, they're trying to teamfight their way back into this, but you can just see that the net worth really isn't there. And this is where you're having a Jakiro in your offlane really starts to feel bad for RNG. If they had something along the lines that had a little bit more of a team fight, you know, obviously the Enigma was banned, but some of these offlane heroes like the Mars or a Centaur Wall Runner or maybe even Axe or something like that, that it just allows you to have that instant initiation and try and catch one of these heroes and blow them up, feels a lot better than what they've got right now. Do you understand why they picked the Jakiro? Does really, really well in these team fights to just get rid of all of these summons, but yeah, RNG right now, they're definitely behind the 8 ball, and I think it's going to have to be some big heroics coming in from Ghost, and Somnus can definitely carry, because he's got his Diffusal Blade up now. They're looking for nothing to say.
Yeah, heroics might come from Kaka here, who finds the scouting, but NTS unfortunately has BKB turning around, trampling down Somnus. The Pulverize is going to be out as well, and Somnus dead to rights. He's already gone. Chalice dropping an Ice Path, hoping to try and buy space to escape, but he's being chased right now. There's nothing to say. Gets a double kill onto X-Nova as well. Boundless Strike holds Kaka in position, and here comes Ame. There is no quarter here as he picks up the BKB, throws it in. Kaka is gone as well. Each of these fights and these skirmishes seems to lead to 3 RNG heroes dying, and unfortunately this one will be no different as they lose more. This time around, yet again, they were making the forward movement. They were going for the jump onto NTS, but they bite off way more than they can chew, and they get eaten alive by the Primal Beast.
Yeah, LGD just instant response, right? As soon as they saw that nothing to say was there, he said, all right, boys, we've got a BKB. Pops his BKB. They turn back around, and they just get 2 extra kills out of the back of that. Somnus So a little bit unfortunate for him. He probably didn't want a rolling thunder there as well, hoping that he can try and get out. His swashbuckle was just off cooldown as he gets pulverized as well. You can see they come in straight away. They do about half damage to him. Oh, it's another fight already.
Oh, wow. Another fight already. This time around, Soniqs will commit the full Rolling Thunder. Primal Roar will hold him in position.
Requiem.
There's the fear with the Requiem. The combo finally coming good. But NTS, he's still not dead. He gets to the far edge of the fight. Uproar keeping him up as Ame drops down the Wukong's command, and they're able to completely decimate RNG. They've already lost Chalice and X-Nova. Soniqs might be next. Swashbuckle to the high ground, but Ame read the movement, was ready with the Primal Spring. Prepared for the swashbuckle, prepared to kill him, and the Pango goes down. Yet again, 3 heroes fall. As LGD, they are just everywhere right now, and everywhere they're winning at the moment, Fluke.
Yeah, LGD are just winning every team fight, no matter if they get, 3-man Requiem, no matter if they're just constantly getting rolled through as well. There just isn't that much damage that RNG have. You can see this is kind of the first rotation that Ghost has made here for RNG, and it was a nice Requiem, a nice use of the Shadow Razors as well, but just PSG.LGD, they're just a little bit too far ahead. These heroes are oh so tanky.
Yep.
You can see how hard it is for them to kill nothing to say. Like, this is the reason why this Primal Beast is in the position he is, right? Because this hero is so tanky, does so much damage early, wins his lane, and just takes over the game. Gets a BKB, now he's going to be heading towards the Kyra and Sanj, pardon me, and then it's going to be even harder to try and kill nothing to say right now. So RNG, they just need to try and wait until the next couple of item timings. They're getting close to a few now, but until then, it's going to be hard to win these fights.
The fight is starting again, though. This time around, they are able to kill nothing to say by bursting him down with all their magic damage. Chalice, though, will suffer for this almost immediately, and so will X-Nova, who dies almost solo to the Beastmaster. But now Ame is out of his BKB. He's going to end up losing his first life. They have access to the Chen nearby, but no all heal, no mech. So if they can catch him out and kill him, Ame will be in danger. But RNG not feeling their strength anymore. They want to back off. Soniqs misses the swashbuckle.
Oh my God.
Huge boundless strike into the terrorize coming in from LGD. They burst down Soniqs as LGD literally every single time 3 kills. That's the bare minimum. They always get it. And they really tried their best on RNG to try and stop that fight, but Ghost, unfortunately, not strong enough, and he doesn't have a BKB himself, so he couldn't charge headlong into the fight on the second life of Ame. It looked a lot better, Fluke, than it has been for the last several minutes, but it's still not good enough from the side of RNG.
The worst thing about that as well, Snare, it was 4 seconds until Requiem of Souls came off when Ame was respawning from the Aegis. So if they had the Requiem of Souls there for that second life, you would just see Ghost channeling it out. He's going to blow up Ame. They kill him twice, and that would have been a good fight here for RNG. You can just see in the backline, X-Nova gets roared. He's just going to cop a whole lot of that damage from the summons, and losing 2 of these heroes straight away is never good for RNG, but in this combination of the Shadow Fiend as well as the Rolling Thunder means that these team fights can really start to work out here for RNG. You can just see that Ghost had to back out there and wasn't able to connect with Soniqs to try and get that second kill into Ame. But they've proven the concept. They can kill nothing to say. So they can kill the Primal Beast, but it's about how many times can they kill that Primal Beast without losing literally everyone on RNG. I think for Ame.
So what did it take to kill him? They took what? Macropile? Ame? Okay. I don't think he scouted that Kaka's there. But Kaka will let Ghost know that, hey man, this is probably not a safe place to be right now. He's jumping in these trees. Get the hell out. Wise decision to be made. But PSG.LGD just going to be looking for this tower. They take it so fast. Beastmaster Aura with Ame. They got the drums as well on Faith Beyond. Well, they're not going to stop this train, even without having access to the Aegis. They can feel their strength right now. There's no reason whatsoever to back off. RNG, they will go for the smoke themselves with the Snapfire, hoping to maybe try and catch up, but they realize, we have to come for the straight-up defense proper down this bottom lane. They're just going for it. On this high ground, I'm not sure they're that strong. They're pretty strong, but that might be a bridge too far, and indeed they do back off.
Yeah, you can just see that Nothing to Say is just kind of playing around the triangle. They've got the gem now on the Primal Beast. Desolator is up now on Ame. They finally have the BKB on Goso. So this is go time here for RNG. They're just going to try and clear out this creep wave. They've got 4 people smoked up here. Maybe trying to bait Soniqs a little bit. Chalice in the backlines. If this Jakiro is not getting gored on directly by the Monkey King, especially during BKB, I think Chalice should be okay to be able to get just a multiple rounds of his spells out, and the rest of RNG can try and get that combination going. If they hit a nice Elias path, they hit a little Macropyre as well. So Kaka
He's got scouted. They saw him under the sentry. They know where he's at, and they have a gem like you mentioned on NTS, so very easy to be able to scout this mixed assassin. And they also have this Beastmaster Hawk that they send close to the triangle. They'll see that Ghost is that side of the map, and if Ghost is there, they have a little bit less to worry about. He is going to be the big damage dealer for the side of RNG. The one thing I'm still worried about though, Fluke, this SF, compare and contrast Arme. When you look at Arme half the time, his tooltip is just maxed out. A bajillion auras, buffing him up and making him way stronger than he would be otherwise. Erstwhile, Ghost is pretty much just playing this game by himself. It's him against the world, effectively at this point. The Silver Edge will certainly help when it does arrive. But all that RNG is doing right now, the rest of the squad besides him is buying time. They drop that macro pie top to clear out the creep wave, and just time and space is all they care about. It's on LGD to try and push the tempo though, to deny RNG that particular time and space. And as we keep saying, we've seen the Shadow Fiend come back from disastrous situations to still carry a game. As they smoke up now, yet again looking for a target, but they lack vision on this map. It's very difficult to know where to go. Xnova comes across some of these creeps from the Beastmaster. Kaka gets scouted. Oh, Kaka's gonna get brought down. He's still alive, actually. Gets forced off after the fire snap cookie. But unfortunately, the jump in from the Primal Spring will be able to bring him down eventually. They've already committed the terrorizing the Bedlam. Here comes Arme inside the Wukong's command. Somnus goes in with the Rolling Thunder, gets himself out of the Wukong's. Requiem was pretty good from Ghost, but unfortunately now, BKB popped by Arme. They've chased down and killed Chalice already. Ghost BKB will eventually expire, and when it does, he's in danger. Somnus doesn't have a BKB of his own, so he's in danger right now. As Arme gets the kill, yet again it's a 3 for Fluke. And RNG just cannot catch a break in this game, number 1 versus PSG.LGD.
You can just see that Ghost understands that it's very, very hard for him to walk into these team fights. Even with BKB, he didn't feel confident about walking forward and trying to get a bit of this damage going in. And got stuck inside the Wukong's command. He threw out a nice Requiem, so they at least caught Arme for a little bit, but as soon as Arme pops BKB, they really don't have any damage to try and kill him. And you can just see now that PSG.LGD, they understand they are so strong right now. 15k net worth lead ahead. They've got this Chen army. They're going to walk in with the Beastmaster auras as well. They just sent out Arme on the front side, and oh, okay.
Ooh, they caught him down. Tree cut is going to be there, but do they have the damage to follow up on this? Hurricane coming in from Irrisons to get Arme out of danger here, but it's not going to be enough. Somnus finally able to finish him off. A godlike, beyond godlike streak ended there, and that's a lot of gold given away to this young Pangolier. The question is, can they get more? Somnus trying to go in with the Rolling Thunder. He's held in place with the Primal Roar though. Xnova jumps in with the Fire Snap Cookie. Nothing to say, charging up. He wants Ghost to also try to bring him down first. But he's forced to TP out because he's taking too much damage. His BKB will protect him and allow him to escape. As Somnus cleans up on the end of the fight, bringing down Shin Q. Buyback was in from Xnova because they recognize that now Roshan is up. They need the little shredder to minus the armor with the Ghost Aura as well. They should be able to claim this one. And they know for a fact that they do not have to worry about this Dark Willow or the Monkey King. However, MK does have buyback, but at this point it feels like it's going to be a little bit too late. And RNG might finally catch their break, but we don't know. A lot can still happen. Kaka baiting out some spells here. NTS onslaughting through. The Requiem will be there to protect the Aegis Snatch. They will give up the life of Kaka, but hashtag worth at this point. BKB TP out from Ghost. Chalice will have forced off soon-ish, but gets it caught with the onslaught. He's going to end up getting brought down, unfortunately, granting a double kill towards Innocence. And Somnus is being body blocked in. He's stranded in the middle of nowhere. The Pulverize will be there to bring him down. Xnova almost died to the Bedlam. Gets held in position by the Cursed Crown. Arme will have Primal Spring coming very shortly. He sees him. He knows what's up. He's going to get this kill. And this time, it's not going to be 3. It is 4. They get the Aegis for the side of RNG, but in retrospect, probably not worth it to lose 4 heroes. But if you give away the Aegis, you just lose the game instantly anyway. Yeah. This is the worst choice ever. Sophie's choice for the side of RNG. And unfortunately, LGD is like, well, we're still coming up the hill, boys, no matter what you decide.
Are they actually going to lose the game with an Aegis the Immortal? That's probably going to have to be a first for me watching the game. I don't think the game's going to be over just yet. They're still going to have one more fight in them, but getting that Aegis and, oh man, Somnus getting body blocked by those creeps, that feels really bad. He was 1 second away from getting the swashbuckle off again, and then nothing to say, just came into the pole line. This is the last fight.
Ooh. Small little Ravage coming in from Kaka here as he catches the 2 most important heroes with the Impale. Unfortunately, they can't keep the lockdown going. Kaka already gone, and they hold Somnus in position, right-click him down. He is able to roll to safety for a second, but Faith Beyond throws in access to deny him the escape. Ghost now is the one that's in danger. Kaka goes again with a pretty great impale, but Ghost loses his first life, so there will be no Aegis available for him. Terrorize goes in, catches X-Nova, sends him back, but he can still throw in the Morty's Kisses. Oh my god, the damage inside the Wukong's command onto Ghost. Way too much from Ame. And although they rain down the kisses, the game is already over. RNG have called GG, granting the victory to the best team in China. PSG.LGD take the initial dub here, Fluke. It looks like RNG's hopes of getting one over LGD, getting one over their regional rival, it's not going to be a 2-0. If they get any win, it's going to have to be an eked out victory in game number 2 because this version of LGD looking like they're back to their best.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the way that LGD played this draft was really, really good. I think they just came in with a perfect idea about